Hello, I'm Fontani, the Sky Ghost. Today we are here to talk about Unchained, the game from Software Studio just ported by Super Bright on the Oculus Quest. I tried it for you, so let's discuss about how this roguelike game it is and if you should try it or not. Okay, so while you see some gameplay video that I'm showcasing it in the screen for you, of course if you want to see the first minutes of gameplay, like 10 minutes or such, there is another video that I published on YouTube with my first moments in the game when I die like every second, so that you can try to see the first moments of the game. But now let's talk about inside the review. So what is In Death? Unchained is the porting of another game called In Death. There was a game for Steam VR and other kind of headset that's been ported by Super Bright or the Oculus Quest. So now it is a Quest game that you can play using your wall space, your area, and what kind of game it is a roguelike game. So what it does mean is that basically you go into this game, you have to fight in procedurally generated levels, you fight until you die. So that's basically a roguelike. You can't win, you can't survive, you're destined to die somehow, some way. So it's a genre that you have to like, because either you like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, probably In Death is not the game for you. So what happens in Death? The theme of the game is very like medieval gothic, like a bit underworld kind of world, where you have go into this path, into this cathedral, only connected by bridges. And you have to fight against enemies like monsters, like knights, like archers, but they're not human. So they're like spirits, bad souls, or something like that. In fact, the first level that you play is called Purgatory. So it's like another world, the other world, the world of the death, where you enter and you fight these souls. You can fight them using your bow and arrow. And that's the first weapon that you have, otherwise there is a crossbow. What is the best weapon? Well, it depends. The bow and arrow is cool, that gives you more satisfaction because it's cool using the bow and arrow. But there's some problem with the Oculus Quest because sometimes you do this and the tracking of the Quest can't detect exactly where you hang this. So sometimes there is some problem. You used to use the bow and arrow this way instead of this way. Because of this reason, with the crossbow it's easier. It's like having a gun, basically. So in the end, I used the bow and arrow for the first times. You can see it in another video. I only use bow and arrow, and then I use the crossbow all the other times. As soon as the crossbow has been unlocked, I only use the crossbow. It's so cool. And so basically, you have these arrows. You have to shoot enemies. The arrows take beginning standards, and the enemies are some kind of enemies like the knight that has some melee weapons, and like the archers that try to shoot you. And the beginning shooting is not easy. I have to be honest, the beginning was terrible, the shooting with the one arrow, but then you get used to it. It is pretty cool actually. It is cool shooting, especially at the distance. It's cool that you're very far from the enemy, you shoot it, you make a headshot. It's like wow, and you do this kind of stuff. The game, as I said, is all like this. So you move into this world, you encounter this bunch of enemies, you fight them, you continue fighting them until you arrive to a final boss. When you defeat the boss, there is another level that gets unlocked, like the Abyss. And then if you defeat the boss 6 times, there is another level called Lost Paradise that gets unlocked. When you finish all these levels, the new Purgatory 2, Lost Abyss 2, and Lost Paradise 2 and Abyss 2 get unlocked and become 3, 4, 5. So in the end you have to die somehow. The Paradise 2, the Lost Paradise 2, the Purgatory 2 are more complex than the first version, of course. So you have to fight until you die. I have to say that it's pretty difficult. So I've never defeated a boss until now. So even the first boss is called like Anakin the Abominable, something like that. I've never managed to kill it. I played this game like 3-4 hours, and I arrived at the boss, I always die because being a roguelike, every time you play it is different. You have a different generated level. Then you arrive to the boss. If the boss kills you, you can't save. You have to return to the beginning. So it's difficult to kill the boss because every time you have to do everything. But the cool stuff of In Death is that every time that you play, the game is different. For two reasons. The first is that the game is generated. So every time the levels, these bridges with cathedrals and other bridges, are generated. So the maps are always different. And then because the game is very intelligently designed, because every time you go, the more you go, the more you unlock achievements and that kind of stuff. And these unlock you special arrows that you find in the maps that you can loot from killed enemies, or that you can buy from towers where you can buy the stuff from the person that sells them. The more you unlock these special weapons, so these arrows, the more also the enemies become difficult. So at the beginning there are already the knights and the archers, then special archers and special knights appear and they are harder to kill. Then there are ghosts that are super hard to kill because you have to shoot them in the heart. There are skeletons that teleport. There are lots of enemies that appear. So actually, even if the game is always the same, I'm being compelled to continue playing it because every time becomes different, because new enemies, like every 2-3 times I play it, appear, and then after unlocking some kind of other achievements, now there is a kind of little sub-levels that are called the pits. I don't remember the one of the names, like the Purgatory Pit. So you go there and there is like a mini mission with other enemies. It's super difficult to run as well. The game is very unforgiving, so it's very difficult to kill enemies, especially when there are lots of horde of enemies. You have only a crossbow, and even if some bows can kill more enemies at once, sometimes it's hard, and the bosses are super hard. So in the end, it's a game that is not forgiving, also because your health, as soon as they kill you, they hurt you 6 times, you're dead. It's very difficult, and this can motivate you or can frustrate you. Another thing that I have to say is, so it's cool that it has a high replayability, because I continue playing it. I'm compelled to continue playing because every time it's different, new enemies, new missions. And since it is difficult, I feel it as a challenge. I want to win it. So on that side, I like In Death. What I don't like is, for instance, the poly. It is too difficult, especially killing the enemies. It's frustrating that when I arrive at the final boss, I die. I have to restart to the beginning. Every level, so winning the Purgatory at least is half an hour of gaming. So if you die, half an hour of gaming, you die again, half an hour. So probably like a save point where there is the boss will be great for me. The game also feels, even if it is very well variated, I think that's cool, it feels a bit repetitive because you go there, you shoot. It's always bow and arrow, or crossbow and arrows. So it's always the same, even if it is different, but same but different, like that meme. So probably I will have like some more variation in what I could do. The other thing that I don't like is the controls. I think it's sometimes getting used to the fact that this key is for teleporting, the other one is shoot a teleporting arrow, because I miss talking about the locomotion. So how the locomotion works. You can activate free locomotion or not, you decide. Otherwise it is teleporting, but it's not a starter and teleporting. You have to shoot an arrow to where you want to teleport. That's kind of cool on one side. On the other side it's pretty frustrating because at first you can't exactly aim where you want to go, because you maybe aim in a bad way, and so you find yourself in another place. On the other side, this means that you have to load a teleporting arrow, so you don't have your initial arrow as well. So once you teleport, you have to reload very fast another arrow to shoot. So the locomotion is a bit. I haven't liked it. Also, the free locomotion is smooth locomotion is a bit slow. So that one is could be better. The controls are frustrating at the beginning because you have this button to load the teleporting arrow, this other button to decide which kind of arrows you want to shoot, the other to load, the other. Too many buttons is confusing, especially when you are in a battle. So probably you want to load an arrow, you trigger the shield. I got used to it, but at the beginning it's a bit frustrating. Aiming is a bit difficult, especially with bow and arrow. You have to practice a bit with the crossbow as well. So it's not easy, especially because the bounding boxes of the enemies are not even here. This is a not forgiving game because if you shoot an arrow here, the enemy is not killed. So you have to shoot exactly in the head, for instance, or on the body. So you have to have a very good aim, and it's not easy with the controllers. Maybe you tremble a bit, the enemy is far away, and it's not easy. So very difficult game in my opinion to play. Very frustrating, a bit repetitive, but on the other side, I think it's a nice game. So I had fun playing with it. It is the most important thing in a game, I guess. I still want to play it because I want to win against Anakin the Abominable. And also the game, new enemies are spawning, so I want to know what are the new enemies, what are the new weapons that are unlocked. Now just a new weapon that damages the area where the enemy you have shot at has appeared, so I'm experimenting with it. So it's cool, and also the mini missions in the pits are very different, very complicated. But even there, I want to play this mini mission. I have to enter into Purgatory, just go through the map, find where is the portal to the Purgatory pit, because you don't know where it is. And once you get there, probably it's very difficult, so you die like in 2 minutes. So it's very, very difficult, very, very frustrating, a bit repetitive, but it's funny. So it's a good game. I think it's a good game. So the last detail I want to talk about, because we're talking about a porting for Quest. So this is like in depth. So the game is the same on Quest. The difference is that the graphics are a bit simplified. Sometimes there is a bit too much fog because they don't want to render too many polygons, so there is a lot of fog between the various bridges and such. So it's like you are in the bridges in the middle of a white world. That's a bit bad. Also, you can see some simplifications in the environment. So the textures are a bit simplified. I've seen the graphics of the original game. It's another level of graphics, so very detailed. This one is a lot simplified. But at the same time, I have to say that the environment is nice. So I like this mode of Gothic, of Middle Ages. It's very cool. So you don't think it's a bad graphics. Probably it's a bit simplified, but it's good. And on the other side, probably the biggest problem is that it's called Unchained because you have no wires. And it's cool, but at the same time, I feel like the game has been designed for a frontal setup for the Rift. So you have the thumbstick for snap turning, for instance. And I play mostly the game by standing still in a point and just shoot, rotate, shoot. I never spend much time just dodging. I have the shield that can stop the arrows of the enemies and things like that. So it's Unchained, but it doesn't exploit exactly the quest. It's a porting, so it's okay. It's what happens in most games, like in Beat Saber. But I feel like it's gonna be static for being a game for the quest. But it's a porting, so it's okay. Overall, I have a good impression of this game. As I've said, you have to like the genre. If you don't like roguelike games, it's not a game for you. If you like this genre, I think it's a good game for you. It can get you into VR for a lot of time and have fun shooting the enemies in the damned world. So this is my final opinion on that. I hope you like this video. If it is the case, please like and subscribe, hitting the buttons here below so that I can continue doing these videos about virtual reality. And if you have something you should think I should talk about in my next video, let me know in the comments. So now I say goodbye, happy VR.